Hey, what is up everyone? Dan Baczynski here, and today is a solo podcast.
Daddy, don't you know that we're all bad as fuck on the inside? Now it's time to rock the show. Come on, you are a star tonight.
That intro was brought to you by Ninja Sex Party in their new song, Danny Don't You Know. We'll get into NSP for a second, but first off, so today's going to be a solo podcast due to the fact that it's kind of coming out late. The whole Canada Day, 151, go us, kind of messed up our usual schedule, and Dave's place is a long drive from my place, and doing this on a weekday, it's just a lot of work for me. So Dave will probably be on soon. We'll probably put out another one quickly, but today's just going to be me. Might be a shorter podcast, might not. We'll see how things go. But this time, I won't have anyone complaining if I talk about how bad Marvel is. But I won't, because I know it's annoying. But they are bad movies, alright? Well, alright, no, I'm not. It's annoying to talk about. Go right into talking about it. So, no, I won't talk about it, Tanner. I know you like the movies, so I'll let you have your opinion, even if it is wrong. Enjoy. But they are bad movies. So that's enough about Marvel. So it's just gonna be me. We'll see how long we can milk out this podcast. Maybe get some ad revenue in here. I think we can get ad revenue. I don't know though, because we get like 20 views max a podcast right now. So if you like this podcast, make sure to share with your favorite YouTubers so we can get a shout out. Because nowadays I'm pretty sure that's one of the only ways to really get recognized. I listen to a lot of YouTubers talk about it, and they always go on about, I don't know how I would have made it nowadays on YouTube because the algorithm's all different, which I think is kind of stupid. I never liked this whole algorithm. It always, to me, it seems like YouTube's lazy. It seems like YouTube doesn't want to hire people to actually like check this stuff and do all that, so they'd rather just make a computer-generated algorithm that finds all revenue for them. Like, oh, what can we get the most views out of? What can we do this out of? And, what made YouTube so awesome back when it first started? Well, one, the fact that videos could only be 10 minutes long. Like, you remember that? I don't want that to come back. Don't get me wrong. But it showed that they didn't care. Like, they wanted good, quick quality content. They wanted to be something else. They wanted to be their own little thing, you know what I mean? Where now it just seems like anything that will give them money, they want to put out in front. They wanted to always put out Logan Paul, always put out Jake Paul, even though they were awful, rude people, or just bad influences on kids. They didn't care because millions of kids would watch them and they'd get lots of views, meaning YouTube got lots of money. So until the whole, I guess, Jake Paul with the news, because did all of you see that? That was ridiculous, man. He was acting like a freaking 12-year-old child climbing on the van. Like, that was kind of messed up. Like, I don't know how else to put it, but I couldn't imagine being the reporter. It's like, oh, Jake Paul, what the fuck are you doing, man? Get off my van. What? How old are you? You're not a child anymore. I know Logan Paul and Jake Paul always like to say, "Oh, you're messing with a child." Like when Chris D'Elia, I think that's his last name. I don't know, but when he just smacked him on Twitter, holy moly, bro! When Chris just completely like KO knocked out Logan Paul on Twitter with those comebacks. Logan Paul tried to use you're a 38-year-old man versus a child. You're not a child anymore. You're like, I wouldn't even consider teenagers children. You're going through a stage in your life where now you're not a child anymore. I wouldn't say you're an adult, don't get me wrong. You're not an adult. But you're not a child anymore. There's a very big difference between the two. But I mean, look at who their dad is. And can you be surprised that they still act like this? Like, their dad's still immature. He's in their freaking videos kissing 19-year-old girls. That's gross, okay? I'm sorry. Love can have any age. That wasn't love. That was freaking gross. This old, bald man just like, hey, my son's got views, so let me get in this shit and kiss young girls. Like, that could be your child, if not almost grandchild by now. Well, maybe not grandchild, but still, that's so young. You weren't ever in school together. Like, think about that. Like, you know, sometimes, like, your parents are like, oh, I'm 4 years apart, and then you're like, oh, crap, you were done high school before I even got into high school, you know? It's like, oh, that's kind of weird. No, not for this. This guy's like, what, 50-something, and she's 19? This guy had finished most of his life before she was born. Like, 20-something? I'm not good at math, alright? Don't judge me. I'm not gonna pull out a calculator. I don't know what 50... Well, I guess I didn't have a good number to start. You know what? That doesn't matter. What matters is that this guy had spent over 20 years. He's lived more of his life. Like, he was older than she was before she was born. If that makes any sense. Does that make any sense? Before she was born, the dad was 20-something, meaning that before she was born, he was already older than what she is now, which is gross. All right, I'm glad we figured that out. I'm glad we got all that down. But Logan Paul and Jake Paul's dad, you're gross. Get away from the camera. You're a weirdo. Stop encouraging your children to be doing this weird stuff, because I'm sorry, so many YouTubers are like, oh, I respect their hard work and how they put so much time into this and how they've really gotten this revenue. I'm sorry, you respect that? You respect that they've taken advantage of these children and figured out, hey, these kids are so, like, their minds are like clay. They can mold them, so let's mold them to buy my stuff. Buy my stuff. Make money off of merch. Merch. Buy my merch. How can you respect that? That's a disgusting thing. You shouldn't be using, well, I guess the world does all the time, but I mean, I would never respect someone who is using this platform to make money off of kids that don't know any better. That to me is not respectful. I guess it's smart, don't get me wrong. Like, these guys might be idiots when it comes to common sense, but I guess when it comes to business, they know what they're doing. But they're not respectful, all right? That's taking advantage, and that's wrong. And that's what frustrates me so much now about YouTube, is it feels like people are so scared to attack someone because they just feel like everything's going to go downhill after they tell the truth, that it's just, no matter who you talk to, it's like, well, what do you think of this person? And they're always like, oh, well, I mean, I respect what they're doing. I just don't like that. No, be real. You don't respect Logan Paul. You don't respect Jake Paul. And you don't need to. They aren't people to be respected. They're bad people. I'm sorry. They are bad people. There's nothing about them that goes, you know what? That's a good person right there. Putting a dead person's body in the thumbnail? That's a good person right there. Apologizing, then going right back to tasering dead rats? That's a good person right there. He didn't learn anything. He just laid low while all this blew over. You know why? Because his mind can't comprehend what awfulness he does. Like, you can just tell by the way he acts. It's like he is a 12-year-old child in a full, super muscular man body. Okay, that was weird how I put it. But it doesn't take away from the fact that he's a child in a man's body. And I don't know what his little brother is. I think he's just ate too many lead paint chips as a kid. I don't know. But yeah, I guess I'm calling you out, Paulers. Send your low gang. Send your... What is Jake? Oh, Jake Paulers. Oh, very creative. Very, very creative. I mean, I guess if you can't think of anything else, there's that ER to the end of your name. Good for you. It's very smart. So I guess my group is now called the Daniel Pachinskiers. No, that doesn't work. Foolish Youthers. Yo, what's up, Foolish Youthers? Oh, yeah, that's sick. Well, I guess Foolish Youther, since it's just, Tanner. Shout out Tanner again. Yeah, we're just gonna keep on shouting out Tanner until, we get other people to view. Because, I mean, we love all our fans, mainly because our only fan is Tanner, and he's a pretty cool dude. If any of you watching out there who's not Tanner, you should really get to know the guy. He's a good dude. But yeah, good dude all around. But now to the good side of YouTube. Let's talk about the people in my solo intro. I thought this would be kind of fun because their new song, Danny Don't You Know, kind of fits, I guess, this whole thing. And I mean, I really like this band. Ninja Sex Party has been out for a while. Some of my favorite songs by them, if you do want to listen, which I highly recommend, is 6969, Dragon Slayer, so many others, Cool Patrol. They're just a fun comedy band. That's something that I feel has kind of gone out of, like, style. Not that it was ever a big thing, but there's barely any comedy bands out there. I'd say the closest thing that's relevant nowadays is Bo Burnham. Bo Burnham is kind of like a solo thing, but he's more of a stand-up comic that does songs. So I guess, would that be different than a comedy band? Because if you think about it, every song Ninja Sex Party does is kind of a skit that tells a story, and it's very funny. That's a big thing for me, is that I find a lot of these people that try and do these songs are usually not funny. Like, it's either, oh, the song's pretty good, or, haha, the song's funny, but it's just a bad song. And that's what kind of makes it funny. Which is Ninja Sex Party. They're able to just, make some great songs that you're also laughing through. But this song, Danny Don't You Know, it's a little different from their usual style. So just a warning, if this is the first time you've ever heard that song or heard this band and you go to check their other stuff, a lot of the other stuff is a little bit more lighthearted, like, haha, this is fun, because they're just having fun. Which is, this one was a lot more kind of emotional and more talking about Dan's struggle through life and how he had a lot of moments of doubt in himself, and it was a beautiful song. I really like how he does the Def Leppard kind of harmonizing with himself, where he does lots of voices at once. I love that. That's one of my biggest things about Def Leppard that I like. So when he does that, it's like, awesome. This is cool. Finn Wolfhard from Stranger Things is actually in the music video as well. So any of you big Stranger Things fans, go check out the video, because he's in there too, and it's really freaking funny, alright? That's a huge thing. It's super funny. You gotta watch this channel. I mean, well, one, they have a lot more views than I do, so I guess I don't really need to give them a shout out, but hey, shout out NSP, Ninja Bryant, Danny Sexbang. Pretty funny dudes. But yeah, I mean, I like that part of YouTube. I think they're a very wholesome part. Not exactly family friendly due to the provocative language, but I just like that they're in it to entertain people, not to cause anger, not to try and get views through hate. Because that's gross, alright? I mean, I guess sometimes on the Foolish Podcast, we try and stir up the pot a little bit by having a little bit of controversial ideas, which is usually just me saying controversial shit and Dave going, wait, that's not right, and me going, whatever. Because, I mean, I don't conform to society, man. I'm above the social norm. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. Sometimes you just gotta not agree with what people think. And it's okay. You at home, the world is trying to tell you right now that if you don't agree with everything the mainstream does, you will get shunned. Do not be afraid. Believe what you need to believe. Unless it's racist. Then don't believe it. Alright? Just don't be racist. There's no point. That's my inspirational quote for the day. Don't be racist. Or, sorry, no, there's a whole lot more to it. You can rewind if you want to put it on a mug or a t-shirt or tattoo it on your back. If you do tattoo it on your back, please send me a photo. That would be awesome. But I don't expect that to happen. But if it does, we will invite you on to the next podcast. So, I mean, Morgan Freeman, you want to get that tattoo? We'll put you on. We'll see if we have room, all right? Because Caleb and Ryan might be on again, so the schedule is kind of full. But we'll see how it goes. We're going to move on to Netflix because there were two big things over the last week or two that caught my interest. Arrested Development Season 5 came out, and for those of you Canadians here, which, again, Tanner, Kim's Convenience Season 2 is out on Netflix, and I highly recommend actually both of these. I'm going to start with Arrested Development because Season 4 was bad. I'm not going to lie. Season 4 was really bad. It was really hard to get through. They did a bit of a change to it. They call it a remix, where they made it a lot more like Seasons 1 to 3 with how the directing, the camera angles, just how they did it was a lot more to style because they kind of went off style and it just did not work for that show. So anyways, Season 4, pretty rough. I'm not gonna lie. It was a bad season. But Season 5 comes around, I'm like, alright, let's give it a shot. First it's alright. And it just felt like it got its rhythm back, its Arrested Development feel again. And it is a great season. It's a lot of fun. The characters are back on track. Buster's great. He's in prison though, which is kind of scary. I mean, sorry, spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. I mean, I guess you'd figure it out in the first episode or two. Actually, it might be 3. I don't know. But either way, there's a lot of good kind of subplots. Job, his whole having a gay feeling for Tony Wonder, the magician, is super funny. Holy moly. That is a really good plot. I'd say it's probably one of the best parts of Season 5. Because Will Arnold, wow, that is a hard name to say fast. Will Arnold. What was it? No. Oh my gosh. He's amazing as Job. He just does him so well. Everything about Job is just done to perfection. Just how stupid he is, how he tries so hard to care but not care, and just, oh my gosh. So I think one of my favorite moments from that show is when he gets reunited with Michael. And he's just like, look at us crying like a bunch of Girl Scouts or something like that. It was just so funny because Michael's just like, Job, get off me. And he's crying, hugging him. It's done so well. And George Senior Bluth is, I think, my second favorite character. He's just so funny. Everything he does is just great, you know? But, I mean, there are a few characters I'm gonna say that kind of fall flat and start to kind of go off. I'm not gonna lie, I really liked Tobias in the first 3 seasons. I wasn't feeling it for Season 5. It just felt like they were trying so hard to keep him in, but it just felt out of place because he's divorced from Lindsay. He's trying hard to stay in the family. It's just, I don't know. To me, it felt like he was really out of place, and they just kept him in because he's a fan favorite, not because it made sense with the show. But maybe they can change it around in Season 6, because there is going to be a Season 6. I can guarantee that by the way it ended. Not going to spoil that for you because, I mean, I don't know. There's no point. Also, I can't remember exactly how it ends, so boom. Can't spoil it for you if I don't know how it ends, huh? Yeah, I mean, can't believe I actually already forgot how it ends. Wow. But that doesn't matter because we're talking about Kim's Convenience now. Boom. Sexy transition there. Jeez. What the fuck is wrong with me, man? It's so hard without Dave. Yeah, Kim's Convenience. That is a great Canadian show, alright? It's based in Toronto. It's just a fun, lighthearted show. You get a lot of good laughs. For me, I really like the, I call it Asian comedy that they do. They do a lot of, like, kind of Asian jokes because they're immigrants from Korea. So there's some things where he says something, but his accent makes it sound like something else. And a lot of it's just kind of, like, cheeky, haha, that's funny. It's not deep, smart jokes. It's a very lighthearted show that you can just put on after work, eat some chips, get a few laughs, and just have a good time, you know? It's not something that you're gonna see on Reddit with, oh, what did Appa say to Jung or whatever. No, it's not deep. It's not, they're trying to add this kind of character progression in the show, but it just feels like it's circling back to the same point at the end of every season, even though there's only been 2. But I know it's the first time I'm like, alright, nothing really happened in character development, and it seemed like season 2 was going somewhere, but then it ended up right back where it started. I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, at least they tried. Maybe that's what they're going for, is that these guys can't get out of their rut. But if you're looking for a deep, intense show with lots of character development, lots of plot, lots of subplots, this is not the show for you. This is just a fun show about a Korean family that runs a convenience store, and it's fun. It's really funny. It's actually one of my favorite shows right now. I'm not gonna lie. This show is so just fun. I know I've said that, I think, too many times now, but it's just a fun show. So, highly recommend Season 5 of Arrested Development. If I were you and you haven't seen Arrested Development yet, go watch Seasons 1 to 3, definitely. I would try out Season 4 because they tried to change it back to where it was more the normal flow. So try it, but if you don't like it, just go right to Season 5. Because there are some plots, but they go back and do flashbacks so often that you can pick up the plot really fast. It's really not too hard, you know? But yeah, and Kim's Convenience, you want a good, lighthearted time, just watch that show. It's only 12 episodes, Season 2. I think the first season's 13 episodes, second season's 13, first season's 13. 20 minutes, fun show. And I know this is a little late, but I think that kind of makes sense for it to be late since we're talking about Incredibles 2. That took 14 years to come out. And holy shit, was it worth it. That was an amazing movie. The jokes, unlike Marvel, were freaking fantastic. The timing was so good. They felt like actual jokes real people would say. It was very funny. It felt very realistic. I love this idea of superhero versus normal people. People don't like superheroes because of, like, they make them illegal because of the stuff they've done. It's just a fresh take on superheroes. I kind of forgot how creative The Incredibles was when it came to superheroes. Like, I watched the first one a while ago, but you watch it again and it's a very kind of adult look on superheroes. It's like, alright, I wanted to kill myself. This is from the first movie, by the way. I wanted to kill myself, so the guy jumps off a building, Mr. Incredible saves him, he sues him for damages. That is not a kid's idea. That is whoa. I would have never thought of that as a kid. Like, I think as a parent, you're like, whoa, this is deep. This is not how I saw superheroes ever. So I love that. It's a brand new idea. I mean, the plot I'm not gonna lie, is pretty generic. There's really no spoilers there. But the actual content inside of it was amazing. I really liked this movie. The artwork was really good. I feel like they made it look better enough, but yet still kept the kind of fun art style of Incredibles 1, but just kind of sharpened it, you know, where it's just, it looks like them, but much better. So I saw a few people complaining about that, about how the movement in the first Incredibles was kind of fast and quick, and this one felt more realistic, and people didn't like that. I don't get that. I think it's just them moving ahead with technology. You don't want a shittier done movie when you have the technology to make it look really nice. So why would you do that? Why would you do that? But yeah, a super good movie. And you know what? Screw it. I'm talking about Marvel because I'm going to compare this movie to Marvel Infinity War. Incredibles had many moments where there were jokes. There were a lot of jokes in there, alright? Marvel Infinity War had an insane amount of jokes. Holy moly guacamole. Or, you know what? Let's do Infinity War and Thor Ragnarok. Both of those. So many jokes. Like, so many. And Incredibles had a lot of jokes, alright? But I would say Marvel had a joke every 30 seconds almost. Which as Incredibles would have one every minute, 2 minutes, you know. But the way the jokes were made in The Incredibles made sense to what was going on around them, you know? They didn't make jokes at times that were super intense, you know? Where, okay, let's say The Underminer. I guess a bit of a spoiler, but it starts off the movie with The Underminer, and they're dealing with all this stuff. And there are a few jokes between Violet and Dash about who's going to babysit the kid. But while that's going on, Elastigirl, Mr. Incredible, taking on the Underminer, and they're serious the whole time. And it just feels like a real superhero movie because they're not making jokes left, right, and center going, oh, one-liner here, oh, one-liner here. Because if that was a Marvel movie, the whole time those two were in there, it would have been joke after joke after joke with intense moment, pause, all the noise quiets down with a quick one-liner where they both look at each other like, what? And then keep going. And everyone would have been like, oh, haha. Yep, didn't see that one coming, even though it's so obvious, alright? But yeah, and let's say, I'll just say a few of the jokes. Mr. Incredible is helping Dash with his homework, and this might have been in the trailers, but it was just a fun joke where he's like, why would they change math? Math is math. And it's just fun because you remember hearing that as a kid, your parents complaining about it the exact same way, going, why'd they switch up math? It just felt real, you know? None of the Marvel jokes feel genuine. They just feel like they're added on top. It just, oh, well, this kind of makes sense with the scenario. Would the characters say it right now in reality? Probably not, but we need more jokes. So let's put another joke in there, huh? That's how I see Marvel. Marvel is just adding jokes for the sake of jokes to make people laugh more because they just think more jokes means more laughs, more jokes, more jokes, more jokes. Which is Incredibles is, this is a good time for a joke. This would be funny at this moment. So let's put it in there. It just felt like Marvel tries to create the opportunity for a joke. Like they try and force it in there. Which is Incredibles let the moments arise naturally. Where it just makes sense for them to say that joke there. Or to act that way. Because, alright, you know what? We're going all the Marvel now. That's all I have to say about Incredibles. I would honestly give that movie a 9 out of 10. I won't give it a 10 out of 10 because it's not perfect. The plot was pretty weak. Kind of same old story. But although, let's say, the plot wasn't that great, everything inside of it was really good. So, I give it a 9 out of 10. Highly recommend you watch it. I think it was good that they waited 14 years because unlike all these other series that are like, oh, new movie every year, let's go, let's go, let's go. So then you're not excited about it. There was so much hype behind Incredibles that when you saw it, you were just ready to watch it, you know? It didn't feel like, oh, there's another Star Wars movie coming out. Let's go see it. I don't know. It doesn't make it special if it's every single year. There's something about, like, let's say you go out to a nice restaurant for dinner, and you're like, wow, this place is awesome. If you start going to this restaurant every single day, it's going to feel less and less special. Every time you go, like, the more and more frequently you go, the less and less everything just seems so, like, wow, this is awesome. And that's the same with movies. The more and more Star Wars movies you make, the less and less exciting a Star Wars movie is. The reason why Episode 7 was so exciting is we hadn't gotten a new Star Wars movie since Episode 3, and that was a while ago. They let a good amount of time go. And then Rogue One came out, everyone's like, oh, this is exciting, because you're still on that kind of high from the first movie. Then, what was it, Episode 8 came out, and that was bad, so everyone's like, oh, okay. And then by the time Solo came out, that hype that was there for Episode 7 was, I'd say, almost gone for Solo. People are still excited to see it. I guess true Star Wars fans were still excited, but it wasn't, it was not even close to an Episode 7. Or even Episode 4, which was just like, what the fuck is this, you know? But it is, that's what makes Incredibles so good, is that they waited 14 years. I think that's a little long for a sequel, but either way, it gave it enough time that when it came out, it was so special again. I was like, oh, let's go. I loved the first movie. This one, hopefully, will be just as good, if not better, you know? So, I hope they do make a third one. I wouldn't mind if they waited a few years, though, to a point where you're at another stage in your life, and you're like, oh, wow, I remember watching the first one as a young kid. Just like, whoa, you know? But, yeah. I think we're just going to cut it down to a half-an-hour podcast. Comment down below, tell me what you liked, tell me what you didn't like. If you like the solo podcast, comment down below. We might do a few extra one of those. If you didn't like it, don't worry. Dave and I will be doing it again. This was just kind of to fill in for the missed podcast. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be down. I mean, I wouldn't be down. No, I would never do this again. This was the most embarrassing thing in my life. Just kidding. I've had too many. But yeah, I'd be down to do this again. It's kind of fun. Just a bit of a moment to reflect and not get roasted by Dave and Caleb. And by the way, Caleb, I'm gonna be real with you. I actually watched some of KSI's videos, and they're not that bad. They're pretty funny. You're right, he just doesn't give a shit. He's actually a pretty funny dude. I take back a lot what I say about KSI. I think he's pretty sick. I hope he wins the fight. And guess what? I psyched you out. We're not ending this podcast yet because we're going into sports news, alright? 2 huge things for Tanner. This first one's going to be a biggie because guess who got Tavares? The fucking Maple Leafs. I couldn't believe it. I was actually watching the draft or the free agency pickup. It was, I think, like either 11 o'clock or 1 o'clock in the afternoon where I was. And we were just watching the TV. Also, it pops up John Tavares on the Maple Leafs. And that was insane. I think it's a huge pickup for Toronto. I think it's actually a big part of what they need. I know I roast them a lot, but they're actually my second favorite team other than the Winnipeg Jets. Woo! Go Winnipeg. Next year's the Cup. I believe in you. But either way, I think it's awesome that Toronto got this guy. I heard they might be putting the C on him right away, which is good because they haven't had a captain. And they need a good captain. They don't need a pylon like last time. Dion Phaneuf was a terrible captain. Alright? So, hopefully he can bring in that kind of extra passion that Toronto needs to get going. Because they can't rely on Matthews and Marner. They're just too young. They're too inexperienced. You can't put a whole team on their backs. These guys need to get into the groove. Get to, figure out how the NHL really works. Not saying they were bad, but they're just too young to lead a team, in my opinion. So I think this was a great pickup. Nice job by Toronto. I cannot believe they got him. I think it was smart of them to get rid of Van Riemsdyk. And I forget the others, but open up that salary cap or salary space for Tavares. So good on you, Leafs. I think next season is going to be a lot more promising now. And, yeah, that's all I got for the NHL. But let's move on to the NBA, where LeBron James will no longer be carrying the Cavs to the NBA Finals because he left and joined the fucking Lakers. LeBron joined the LA Lakers. Yay! Now we know. Wait, hold on. Brain fart. Is Lakers on the East or West? Lakers are NBA. I'm pretty sure. I don't know, but this is exciting, I guess, for the Lakers. I'd like to see how Lonzo Ball, LeBron play together. I think they'll be exciting. I think Lonzo will do better, let's hope. Or maybe he'll do worse because LeBron would just be like, yo, step aside, I got this. I think the Lakers will be a better team than the Cavs, so might have a better chance against Golden State, wherever they play him, because it's obvious that LeBron's going to take them again to the finals or whatever, how far it is until they make it to the Golden State, to the great Golden State Warrior All-Star team. And I guess we'll see how it goes from there. I think I wanted him on Toronto. I'm not going to lie. Not like they were actually going to get him, but screw LeBron, man. He's just too good. He's just too good. What are we going to do to beat him? The only way you can beat him is to beat Golden State. Unless you're Golden State, you cannot. You cannot win. But, yeah, I think we're going to end the podcast off here now. Comment down below. Tell me what you liked. Tell me what you didn't like. Are you happy LeBron's on the Lakers? I guess if you're anyone living in LA, you'd say yes. If you're anyone else, you'd say no. But tell me why. And start battling in the comments. I want to see some mean comments down below. Some real nasty stuff that makes no sense in an argument. That's what I like to see. So put that in the comments down below. I'll read them out on the next podcast. Alright? That's how crazy this is. But yeah, we're going to end it there. Thanks for tuning in. And we'll see you next time. Bye.